Okay, alright. Alright. Sounded like Central C there. Okay, alright. So I decided to continue this if you're just like kind of new. I know that we have way more subscribers than we had previously. Previously we had 0, and now we have almost 600, so it's pretty awesome of you guys. Thank you for joining. And if you're seeing this and you're a subscriber, I really appreciate it. You have no idea like how much everything that we like do is of course to like get more subscribers, to get more views, to like get more likes, and to eventually start getting money, right? Because even if we have some non-monetary value or non-monetary ulterior motive for this, where it's for like the betterment of our children and teaching them to be creative and all that jazz, very nice, and us ourselves being creative, at the end of the day we need money. And we just appreciate that YouTube is finding people that like our stuff, even though it's weird, it's unconventional. And there are actually people there that are willing to like watch the things that we put out, even though we and I personally wouldn't watch the things that we put out. And that's just me personally. I like high production value. No, I normally don't watch this type of stuff. Maybe because it's what I want to do, and I don't want to watch people do what I want to do, because I think I want to be the best. So if I see someone doing something that I think that I want to do, that I have been doing, and they're doing it better than me, I get in like a weird head state. I'm very like insecure. I'm not gonna be like motivated to do it, right? There are people out there that are like, yeah, it's gonna motivate me because I saw like how good their product was. Not me. It's gonna demotivate me. I'm not gonna do it. So I don't watch stuff that pertain or closely related to what I'm doing. And no matter what I figured out is that no matter how unique you think you are, or how like quirky whatever is you're creating, it doesn't matter. Someone else is doing the same thing. There's 4 billion people on YouTube, 3 billion people on YouTube. It does not matter. There's absolutely no possible way that you could be unique, right? So that's completely fine. Which is why I don't watch that type of stuff. I watch like what I watch, of course, and I don't create content about those things. Unless it's like studying for something, right? Like I'm studying for art, like an art thing, or a psychology thing that I'm gonna do like a video on. But I haven't done any of those in a while. And we just moved, so you're probably wondering like why it took so long for us to like start posting videos again. But we just moved. It's been a hectic like 3-4 months. We finally got situated, and we made this room. I want to make like a video on the room itself, just so you kind of see where we're gonna be basing most of our videos on, or where we're gonna be like shooting most of them. But yeah, so we finally moved, and now we're like able to create content again. So what I'm gonna do is kind of just do what I've been doing and making stuff. Keep going hard on shorts and keep trying to figure out what type of long forms you want to do. So what you're seeing here is essentially the book that I want to write. I have been thinking about this book for about like 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, I would say. Maybe probably longer than that. I started planning it out about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, just like slowly while like working, going to school, blah blah blah. Just like planning it out. And then I made a Canva, kind of like plotting all the little details that are in my head, in my notes, and putting them in like a sequential pattern where they kind of make sense. So I have a lot of like story beats already up. I wouldn't say finalized, but I put like a rough outline on the first half of the first book, because I plan this on becoming like a 3-book series, all relatively long, because I don't have like a deadline. I'm not beholden to anyone, right? So I'm gonna pump these out, hopefully like a page a day, and make these videos. But of course, if you don't want to like listen to Yap and you just want to like read this, please go ahead and follow us on Patreon, where I'm going to be posting these, plus like a story. I try to do like a story, I don't want to say every day, but at least like once a week or something, like 2 or 3 times a week. Now I'm going to try to do it every day, of course, like we're not going to be that consistent in the beginning, but that is like the plan and overall goal. Because even if like I end up like just rewriting or drafting a lot of these over and over again, at least like I'm making progress. I'm not like just like not writing it, right? So the problem I had before was like I planned too much. Like I said, it was supposed to be like a big book, so I started planning like a bunch of stuff. I started planning characters, started planning like the villages, started planning like the map, the story, and I realized that like I could do that, in perpetuity and really just keep planning everything out. Then I started like, well, once I'm like done planning this, I'm not gonna know how to write. Like I'm gonna have this grand plan, and I still don't know how to write. So I was like, okay, well, that means I need to do something to learn how to write while I'm planning. So a few months ago, while I was like not making videos and figuring out how to move and like buy a house, I started writing more and putting it down on Patreon, and that was like pretty sporadic. Also, that was like a week, maybe 3 times, 2 times a week, sometimes like every other week. But it got me writing, right? Which is like the good part. So now that we're like situated and I can't make any more excuse, I'm writing them down, I'm videotaping them, and I'm putting them on Patreon, and I'm also writing another page for Patreon, every day, and I'm trying to like rate and edit these videos. So making progress. Yeah, so I planned out the first like 1/3 of the book, and there's gonna be 3 POVs on the first 1/3 of it, and then I scale them up. I haven't done the second part yet, or even thought about the third part of the book. I'm kind of like 1/3 of the second part. That's when I decided like, yeah, I need to just like write the shit down, and then once I'm done writing the first part, then I'll like start plotting out the second half, right? Or like the 2/3 half, or the 2/3 half, the 2/3 of it, part 2. So what you're seeing now is like the very first page. I wanted, so I already wrote this a while ago, like 4 months ago, and I had like different names. I had filler names. I had like characters and like animals and flora and fauna that I wanted to put in there, but I was like putting them in brackets and like not really naming them because I wasn't really committed onto like fully naming these things yet. I just kind of wanted to write 4 months ago, but now I decided that like, frick it, let's just put it on there, use the comment section because that also pops up in the PDF, and just keep going. And then once I'm done with the 1/3 of it, like I don't want to do too much rewriting, which is what I did on this first video. I did so much rewriting. I deleted a bunch of stuff, and I decided to just like I just essentially just kept the first part of it, but more than likely I'm probably gonna delete that first part because that first part is like a preface thing to a chapter, and I want that to be its own separate story. So the chapters themselves aren't going to be that long. I haven't decided how long each chapters. I want to put like a hard page number on them, but the chapters aren't going to be long. We're going to be switching between POVs like often, and I'm going to use that as transitions for them to go to places. So most of the time we're going to be like when we cut from one chapter to the next chapter, it should be because we're transitioning, like the chapter's ending because they're about to move from one location to another location, or there's like a cliffhanger, and then we'll transition to the next chapter, which is like another POV. My concern is you're gonna start forgetting if I made the chapters long. So that's why the chapter is gonna be pretty short and really fast paced essentially. Or it's gonna seem like fast paced, but it's not at all. It's just gonna be a lot. By the end of it, it's gonna be like 9 POVs in the first book. By the end of it, so it's gonna get it's gonna switch through pretty fast, and the story beats are gonna like go. One of the issues for that is I have to figure out how to make it coherent, right? So I don't think there's like any problem at all in doing that plan that I just thought about. I'm sure there's gonna be problems before or after this, but if I'm like transitioning with chapters and I'm going through the characters, the problem is like making them congruent enough for it to make sense. So even though they don't necessarily have to make too much sense between each other. The spaces in between, there has to be a reason why there's a space in between, right? Like there's a reason why you're waiting 2 chapters, 3 chapters, 4 chapters, whatever the case is, to get to that POV and whatever they're doing. Like one of the problems with Game of Thrones for me is that the book was so dense that I'd often forget what someone did 4 chapters ago, right? Because George R. R. Martin kind of did the same thing, or that I'm talking about, and he kind of leaves off cliffhanger. Sometimes he doesn't, and he just like switches because that story beat is complete, and then he switches to the next POV to kind of continue their story beat. But then as the reader, I often forget like what was Sansa doing? What was Sansa doing 4 chapters ago, 5 chapters ago? I'd have to go back or whatever. So I want to. I mean, George R. R. Martin also did kind of the same thing, but he kind of fixes this by incorporating some of different story beats between the two and then making them intermingle. So that I think that's what I'm going to be doing, but a little bit more aggressively. But then that might make it kind of like corny. Not corny, but like it could just not have enough nuance throughout the story if they're so intermingled. So I'm trying to kind of now figure out in my mind how do we essentially how do we get the story beats out on paper, make them fast-paced, intermingled, and have the potential for subplots that could potentially intermingle also into the main plot, right? One of the main things I dislike about books is that they'll like, okay, so today is 8/20/2024, and Jujutsu Kaisen just announced yesterday that it's ending in 5 chapters. Wild, right? A lot of shit's happening in Jujutsu Kaisen. There's so many plot stories that just aren't, fully expanded on, aren't resolved. And yeah, they go in the main story, but they felt like vehicles to propel the main story rather than their own story that just intermingled with the main story. And essentially I'm saying, like, you cannot progress the main story without these sub-stories, at least a portion of them, and then whatever happens in those sub-stories, if it doesn't fully pertain to the main story, Gege just kind of just like dropped it. Like let's say like the Culling game, right? The Culling game, you needed the Culling game to get to where we are at now with I forgot his fucking name. I forgot his name. Gege's 2 characters, Zakuna and Yuji, and Megumi. So we wouldn't have gotten to where we are now without the Culling game. But then in between the Culling game, there's like 10 to 15 subplots. Some of those got resolved because he just straight up killed the character, or the fight ended, or whatever. He gave them an off screen. But then other subplots just aren't expanded upon. We kind of just leave those alone. Sometimes they don't really, like, people's powers are gonna go against the main plot. So we can't talk about them too much, and we kind of only use them for a portion. Like, I want to avoid that, right? I want to avoid a character that is fully fleshed out, but I'm only using them for one story beat. I want to be more efficient in that, because that then leaves, members of Gege's group, this community, that fall in love or start to appreciate that one specific character, whatever, regardless of like if it's a good character or a bad character. They'll start to appreciate it, but then Gege won't expand on it, and he'll just either off-screen them, remove them, or just make them useless somehow. And then once they're that's after their one story beat is complete and it progresses the main story. And once it progresses the main story, you'll be lucky if you do get a good ending or whatever, at least an ending for your character that you like. Sometimes you're just gonna get off screen. Like, it's just what happens. I want to avoid that, right? I don't know how to do that yet, but that's one of the things that I want to avoid, is making a character, making a sentence like this sentence that we're going over right now. She mutters to herself as she practices her invocation rites. I don't want invocations to be just a word to use to talk about powers, and we never like expand upon them, or they have like no relevant meaning to the full story. Same with the character Ashwald, their guardian. Like, there's gonna be a reason why it's named Ashwald, or maybe I'll change the name, but I want it to be a reason why like that's her guardian, right? And it could hark back on potentially maybe the mystical beast that she kills is Ashwald, and that's how you eat a guardian. I don't know, or maybe it used to be like her mom's guardian. There's so many different things that you can do that like ties it back to a different character, so it comes somewhat full circle. Like, okay, this person got it from this person, and then you can expand upon that one ending, one side. So people know. What the heck? So I'm getting a bunch of pings. Yeah, I've been yapping for 15 minutes now. But anyway, definitely just want to write more, create more videos, and do more of these voiceovers. What to look out for before I get off here? Look out for, let's see, this content that I'm doing now, the right in the background while I'm writing. I'm gonna try to do that, every day. I'm gonna try to do every day, and then maybe I'll put my face somewhere. I haven't decided yet. I think I might put my face somewhere because I got the camera set up now, and that will help you guys kind of see the background and see the chaos of why this one page took me 40 minutes. I had to stop so many times. Besides, sorry. So do that once a day, right? Try to do it once a day. Once a week, I am going to try to do like a painting video, and then kind of once a week have like a video that I do more edits on. I'm not doing too much. I'm not gonna do any edits on these, right? So I'm gonna try to do like a video once a week that is more YouTube-esque, because I know some people are gonna want to watch that type of stuff rather than how I create things normally, which is you get a memory point and you get my immediate thoughts, not on the memory point, but what I'm thinking in the moment that I'm recording, or what was like on my mind. And the memory point is really just for myself and like my family, and maybe I'll incorporate those somehow. I have like a plan with Alexis on how to incorporate those memory points, but we'll see. But anyway, we've said but and ums like 100 times. Thank you guys for watching. Please watch the rest of the video. Go ahead and listen to the ASMR rain, and like and subscribe if you're about that life. Alright. And for my children, I'm going to be making more videos. I'm going to try to target on things that either you guys are struggling on or are interested on, or something that I want you to learn about in the future that I'll expand upon. I don't know yet, but look out for kind of my like last words for you guys at the end of these. A lot of the beginning parts of when I'm talking, I'm gonna start making it for like the general masses, for people, and then the end of it when I'm done talking. I mean, of course, it's gonna reflect upon you guys also, but the end of it specifically targeted you guys. So yeah, this is the start of this story. I don't have a title yet. I called it HOA fees because we just got a house. I thought that was funny. And House of AFALOZ. I was writing House of AFALOZ because I just watched this movie on Netflix, this TV show. And when I acronymed it out, it said HOA fees. And I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. The fees part I added because it said HOA. But alright, anyway, I love you guys. Bye. Besos.